A very good morning and many thanks for having us. Of course, it is Wednesday, the 27th of March, 2024. We are trusting that you are enjoying and having a very, very beautiful day. And karibu sana to the Leadership Wednesday show. Of course, when it is on Wednesday, you know it's all about leadership and our desire to make our leadership better and better. And that is what we always do. As we always say in this particular show, everything rises and falls on leadership. And therefore, if we have good leadership, then of course it basically means it translates to the society also doing well. And we are inviting you for a very, very interesting conversation that you're going to have here. And today our focus will be on land. And we have a guest that I will introduce later on in this particular discussion. And that is the CEC Nakuru County Department of Land, Housing, Physical Planning, and also Urban Growth. That is Honorable John Kihagi. He will be here to help us understand the state of land in Nakuru County, some of the measures that are being implemented to ensure that this particular department is streamlined, and of course you have an opportunity to benefit from this particular conversation. Karibu sana, and we have a question that we've put out for you. What are some of the land reforms that you'd want implemented? What are some of the land reforms that you would wish implemented? You can share with us, you can give us your perspectives, you can give us your opinions. Of course, you know the drill, 23814, that is our shortcut platform. And of course, you can also catch us. We are live on our Facebook page, MBCI TV. We are also live. That is MBCI TV official, and you'll be glad to see what are some of your views, what are some of your opinions, what are some of your comments as far as this particular area, this particular subject is concerned. Of course, we'll be able to get into that later on in this particular discussion. But of course, as we always do, we'll be in a position to see what are some of the items, what are some of the highlights that we can see in our papers just briefly. And be in a position to look at what are some of the key issues that have been making headlines. And of course, there is a story about why schools are closing a week early. Some public secondary schools will close this week, a week early, in what head teacher says a move to ease financial burden owing to delayed capitation money. Some of these particular secondary schools have been crying foul that they've not received capitation money, and therefore they've been constrained even in terms of their budget, and leading to them actually closing a school maybe ahead of the program or ahead of maybe the diary that would have been expected. And I know this, of course, is going to elicit quite mixed, varied reactions, and even especially for parents. So that is a particular story that we've seen there. And there is another story here that has also made headlines, and this has to do with the Shakahola victims, revealed faces of Shakahola's horror killings. It is a story that has also been highlighted in the Standard newspaper, and some pictures of those who lost their lives in Shakahola have actually been put in this particular, or have been highlighted in this particular paper. And some of the families, some of their kin are actually appealing and requesting the government to help them so that they can give their loved ones a decent send-off even as they prepare to bury them. It's a story that has actually also been highlighted in this particular paper. There is another story that has also made headlines, and it is actually in both Standard and also the Daily Nation, and that has to do with Ruto raids cash-rich parastatals, threatens to shut down those in red. This is a story that I've also seen in the Daily Nation, where it is, the headline says, job losses as 140 state farms to go. Job losses as 140 state farms to go. This is a story that has been there, and of course, according to the president, it is that this is so that the government can actually be in a position to ensure that it is not making losses, or we don't just have corporations that are incurring a where will all these workers who are actually participating or who are actually offering their services in these parastatals, where are they going to go? Will they be incorporated in some of the other corporations? Will they be given other job opportunities? What will be their fate? I think that is the concern of Kenya. Even as most people, or even as maybe there is the agreement, or there is the agreement that it is true that it is important for us to ensure that we don't just have parastatals that maybe are not actually helping the government in terms of maybe ensuring that they are actually bringing profit to the government. So that is another story that I've actually seen. It is making headlines and has actually been captured in both of the papers today. Of course, there is another story about the deputy president, and he has appealed to leaders to ensure that they conduct themselves in decorum. This is in reference to what has been seen in some parts of Trans Nzoia County, where we had a clash between the Speaker of the National Assembly, that is Honorable Moses Wetangula. Those who are his supporters clashed with the supporters of Trans Nzoia Governor, that is George Natembeya, and this actually painted a very ugly scene, and the deputy president weighed in particular matter and actually said this is not what we are supposed to see in this particular era. If there are any differences, they should be looked into, or they should be squared in a manner that actually gives, or in a manner that actually shows there is decorum between the leaders. I think that is also a story that has actually been highlighted there. And of course, we believe and we hope that the leaders will take that one into consideration. Far from Kenya, Senegal are now going to have a are going to have a president that has actually captured the headlines across Africa continent, especially because he's quite young. At 44, they've elected Bassirou Faye, and they're actually saying he was straight from prison now to State House. It's actually an item that has also made headlines across the in Africa, and maybe as young as he is, what are some of the issues going to do, or what are some of the issues that he's actually going to implement now that he has actually been given that, or now that he has actually won that particular seat. And of course, to the fans of football, Kenyans are very, very joyous after Harambee Stars won a tournament, a friendly tournament that was pitting 4 countries. And I know those who are fans of football can actually say we still have hope with the Harambee Stars. I can see one of my cameramen in the studio is actually very excited after seeing Harambee Stars beating some other teams there like Zimbabwe and also Malawi. Of course, let's hope that maybe they are going to secure a spot or a chance when we come to Africa Cup of Nations and of course even World Cup. Those are some of the highlights that we have for you for the papers. And of course, remember, if you're just joining us, our topic of discussion today is focus on land, or maybe actually you can even talk maybe land reforms, and we're going to also pay some particular attention to the Department of Lands, Housing, affordable housing, and also physical planning and urban growth in the county government of Nakuru. And we are so honored, we are so privileged today to host the CEC that is in this particular department, that is Honorable John Kihagi. Remember, we have a question that we've put out for you. What are some of the land reforms that you'd wish implemented? What are some of the land reforms that you'd wish implemented? You can giving us those perspectives, those opinions, views. Our lines platforms for feedback are wide open. That is shortcut platform 23814. You can live on MBCI TV and also YouTube. That MBCI TV official. We'll be glad to see how you also respond to some of the points that we're actually going to highlight as we continue with this particular conversation. At this particular juncture, we have the pleasure to introduce our guest, Waziri Honorable John Kihagi, Department of Lands. Karibu sana, good to have you.
Nice to have you too, Mangich.
Asante sana.
Yes, I'm glad to be at MBCI studio.
Yes.
And I say hi to all our viewers, wherever they are in the country and outside of Kenya. Yes.
Thank you so much, Waziri. And it's also an honor to have you today, even as we talk about matters of land. And we know there is quite a lot that you're doing in your department. And of course, maybe you'll also get an opportunity to highlight on the same. But before we continue, we always give our guests maybe a minute to react to some of the general analysis that we've done. I don't know maybe which item you'd want to highlight in the ones that we've already talked about.
Maybe the one on state corporations. Yes. It's true that the state corporations are major players and major employers within the nation. That is important, as the president is saying, that they all be put to task to show what they are giving the country in exchange of the funds that they are given, especially on the mandates that they are also entrusted by His Excellency the President and the nation of Kenya. So a proper audit of these state corporations and what they are doing. You've heard the cries of everything, whether you're talking of Kenya Power, we are talking of KenGen, we are talking of the Energy Regulation Board, we are talking of the NCPB, the fertilizer issues. All those corporations, they are very, very important for the development of our nation. And if they don't perform, then a certain sector of the nation actually stalls. And it is important that we go the way the president is saying. They should show value for money for the benefit of our nation. Sure.
And maybe just before we come out of this, maybe one of the questions that maybe most Kenyans would be asking is, what do you think could be some of the reasons, or what could be some of the causes for these maybe corporations not to be seen to be actually performing as they are expected to?
One is corruption. There is a massive corruption within these state corporations, a lack of accountability, and maybe also lack of patriotism, because if one is entrusted either as a chairman or a CEO or a board, their duty is to actually ensure that the staff within these corporations work. So if there is patriotism from the level of the chairman to that of the CEO, the board members, it will now trickle down to the workers within those corporations. So I would just summarize it as lack of patriotism. It's sad that, as we are saying, as we are entering now the period of planting within the nation, and we are talking of food security, we can be hearing of fake fertilizer. We can be hearing of fake seeds out there. That is, to me, is actually economic sabotage. If you are sabotaging our farmers who are to feed the nation, and you remember even our inflation, whenever the food prices come down, our inflation also comes down. Right. So even our currency also relies on the performance of our farmers. And if our farmers are messed at this particular moment, the country is messed for about 2 years. So it's just lack of patriotism, and I would encourage that we go the extra mile. Those who've been entrusted by either our president or our governors towards ensuring that the particular dockets that we stand in for, there is performance. We should go an extra mile and ensure that there is performance by everybody. And the issue of standards, the issue of ensuring that there is value for money for Kenyans, because we are using taxpayers' money to do some of these things, that the Kenyan person gets value for money.
Thank you, Waziri, for that. You've highlighted the points very well. Let's come back home to land issues. And of course, there's always been the expression that land is an emotive subject in our country. Are we still holding this particular term?
Yes, land is emotive, but the reason we say land is emotive is maybe the mismanagement that we've done on our land sector. If we manage land properly, it should cease to be emotive, because there should be certainty in the way you engage with your land. There should be clarity on the way you engage with your land, and there should be security of tenure in the way you hold on to your land. Why it's emotive is because all our land deals are based on some sort of lack of clarity. Even where you own, you don't know how you own it. You don't know even the laws that govern that land. So if we made land very clear and land issues very clear, then it should not be motive. But where people are staying, they don't know whether they are squatters, whether they are owners, what is the status of their ownership, what is the state's mandate on that land, what is your right on that land, if it's a family, what is the spousal right, what are the children's rights. So if there was understanding so that everybody knows, if I'm a husband, I should know what is my right and what is my responsibility on that land. We normally say land is a resource that's owned, is an intergenerational resource.
Yes.
In this country of ours, we say land first of all belongs to the present because we are the ones who are living. We need to use land as a capital base, maybe a factor of production. But we also owe it to those who are there before us, our forefathers who fought for independence, and they are buried on this land. So a lot of generations that are gone, they also have interest in this land, wherever they are. But we also say there is other future generations that are coming. Exactly. We also owe them that we manage this land properly and ensure that we pass it to the next generation in a way that it will benefit them. So the emotional aspect of land comes out of mismanagement, some of which is deliberate, and some of which is lack of knowledge.
Mismanagement that we can trace to a very long period back.
Yeah, that mismanagement maybe goes back to the colonial period where the colonials came in. They annexed a lot of our land. And after annexing a lot of our land, by the time they left, after we got independence, it was not very properly arranged how people are going to or how we are going to manage our land. It was not until 2009 where we tried to have a land policy that even now we've largely not implemented properly, because we're supposed to revise it every 10 years. But you ask many people how they understand our national land policy. For instance, I've encountered people who might tell them, you cannot use your land like that. You cannot subdivide your land like that. Yes. Then they ask me, how? This is my land. How am I not supposed to use it the way I want, yet it's my land? But it's because people don't understand that you cannot own land. You only have user rights.
User rights.
Because I've told you, land belongs to a lot of generations, some of whom are gone, others are yet to come. Exactly. So you cannot use land just the way you want. Then you have land. If you are using 100 here, also your neighbor has some interest in how you use your land. If you do quarrying there, you definitely are interfering with him. If
you're affecting others.
Yeah, if you pollute, if you make, we say that people don't own the land.
And we can also say those rights are limited to some extent.
That's what I'm saying. You can only use it in a certain way, and for a certain period of time.
Right.
And at times, especially in towns, you also you pay the landlord, because it's a landlord who normally is the government.
Right.
So the government leases you land, and the government now becomes a landlord. That's why you have to pay rent, so you have to pay rent. But that aspect was not very clearly captured during independence. Of course, land have also been used as a political tool, whereby people are benefiting, especially on allotments. You benefit depending on which side of the political divide you are in. So, in a nutshell, land being a major factor of production, you've seen that it has been totally messed, both during the colonial and also post-colonial period. And we are trying our best to see that, especially as the government of Nakuru, led by Her Excellency Susan Kihika. And I also know, to a large extent, the national government, led by William Ruto, we are trying to do some major reforms towards ensuring that we manage our land in the way the Constitution says. It should be managed in a sustainable, equitable, economical, and transparent manner. So the first of all is our use of land sustainable? And that's why you found even our president is very keen on planting of trees towards ensuring that as we plant, as we use our land, we don't degrade it to an extent whereby the future generations are not going to benefit. Of course, we also have the climate change action that we are also supposed to ensure that land use does not lead to maybe communities not being able to adopt and become resilient in terms of climate change. The other thing, of course, we should use land for a productive way. And that's why you find there's the issue of what is idle land. Can we allow you to just have land and keep it idle?
Yes.
whereas we are talking of the economy needs to grow, whether you're talking of agriculture, we are talking of housing, we are talking of industrial development. So the Constitution also bestows upon us the responsibility to ensure that land is used in an economical and of course transparency, equitability. That's why we talk of even gender equity on land. If I own land as a family head, I should know that I own it on behalf of my wife and my children, and is thereby equity will be found within the usage of land. But of course, some of the aspects of land are not very clearly understood by the wide populace, and it's our role as experts in the land sector to come out and teach them on some of these aspects. Some they know, some they don't know. When we talk of the principle of police power, we are talking that the state has a responsibility towards enforcing how you use your land. We can tell you cannot do this. You cannot have a petrol station everywhere. That's why you had the sorry case of the Bakassi gas fire. Because people are going in residential areas and you're feeding gas there. You know gas is not visible. Cooking gas, by the time you realize it's in your room, you are burning. So it's a lot of the state, and I'm a state officer, towards ensuring that land uses don't conflict. And one of the principles of land use planning is safety first. You have to ensure that people are safe. You have to ensure that people live in a healthy environment. So those are some of the aspects we look at. So if I tell you, especially here in Nakuru, I tell you that you cannot have a petrol station in a certain area. I tell you that you cannot have maybe a factory emitting such certain pollution in certain areas, is because the safety and the health of the people is paramount. And that's why you find maybe some of the diseases that we are having are so rampant, because our planning has tended to overflow inventory. You have land uses that are not compatible all over. But it has developed historically, and our people are going to learn some of these things slowly by slowly. We shall arrive there.
Thank you so much, Waziri. And I know later on you'll actually even now be even getting now into your department, but as you look back, even as we are saying, we have some of these challenges that actually emanated even since the colonial days. But maybe how do you think, or how satisfied are you maybe with the kind of evolution, the positive evolution that you think maybe you're making as a country in terms of ensuring we are implementing the measures to ensure that we turn around this particular sector, especially nationally?
Yes, there are quite some good measures that are being taken. First of all, the President has said time and again that the affordable housing program is not just meant to give houses, it's also meant to give certain order in this country that is not there. For instance, if I want to, right now we are doing houses at Bahati. They are almost complete. People have started buying. We are doing houses in Elbagon because we are encouraging our young people to even learn how to live in communities. You don't have to go and just subdivide a land in Dondoli, land in Joro, just to have a 50 by 100 plot where you can live. We are telling our people you can live in those apartments, whereby now we release the other land for agricultural purposes. Then we also ease the pressure of land such that not everybody should own land in this country. Yeah, because there's a craze. Every Kenyan want to own land. It's a unique African situation. But first of all, maybe it's because land offers you security. Yes. So can we get our economy to offer us other forms of security? The education to our children is the best security, even more than land. You educated Mangich. You can go anywhere in this world and live. You don't need a 50 by 100 plot in your grandfather's rural area. So if, for instance, we educate our children properly, and maybe give them education that can make them live anywhere in the world. The guys we are within this studio, I know they go to South Africa, they will be comfortable. Sure. They go to Australia, they will be comfortable because they got education. That way we release pressure.
So it's a mindset that was created, a negative mindset.
Yeah, a negative mindset that you see our young people, me included when I was a bit young, as soon as you get a job, you you get a lot of pressure. When are you going to buy land? When are you saving? Even our circles, we go into circles.
So that we can buy land.
We even buy land before we buy vehicles. Yes. And you know, a vehicle is a factor of production. It will help you move around, maybe do some, after this studio, you rush to class, you go see your business. Yes. But when I buy land, I keep it idle there for another 5 years before I can get money to build. So we are saying that our economy should be configured in such a way that we release the pressure out of land. We release our children from that mindset that we are fast saving, you buy land. No, you are fast saving, you should not buy land. You should buy some other, or even invest somewhere in a business that now you can, it can give you profits, and from these profits now you can buy, buy land and build, but not buy land for speculating. You buy and wait. No. Yes. That buying and waiting, put that money into a productive sector of the economy, employ 2 or 3 of your fellow young men, and that way even this employment crisis that we are talking about, it's because we've hidden our young people, even our middle-aged people, even the elderly, we've put so much in land that we actually don't use. So some of the economic activities that our president is talking about are going to ensure that that land is productive. The other thing is people have this mystery. You don't have to own land for you to do an economic activity. If I want to do farming, it's easier for me to lease. I was talking to another investor, he was telling me, no, I don't have to. If I have 10 million, I want to do farming. Why should I use 6 million to buy land? I come, I go to your rural home. I know your father or your grandfather had a massive land. You lease me that land. I buy machinery. I put other farm implements. I do farming. After 6-10 years, if I have enough money, I can buy my own land. Or if I want to quit farming, I just give you back your land. So those are some of the other myths that we need to debunk on the issue of land. You don't have to own land for you to do economic activities. The aspect of leasing, and it's also gone even to machinery. If you want to do farming, just go to CFAO and lease a tractor. You don't have to own the tractor, because maybe you only have 5 million to do your farming, and a tractor costs 5 million. So can you go and lease a tractor, be paying 100,000 every month? And after that, if you don't want it anymore, you give it to the owner. The same thing with land. You don't have to own land. We can lease land. But of course, our economy has to stabilize for it to give our people that sort of stability and security that they try to seek in owning land.
And I think that is is an eye-opener, because I think that is what has actually affected so many of our people. Yes. And just as you've said, Waziri, that is that craze that when maybe you have land, that is when, and even the society now thinks that you have some status, and now they can actually, but I think, as you've said, people need a lot of enlightenment. People need actually to be educated, to be made to know that that is not the only way, or that is not the only solution. That's very good. And there is something that you've talked about, and I think this is an area that most people have never understood, and I don't know how it is affecting us as a country. When you're talking about the issue of idle land, when you're talking about idle land, and my director is telling maybe we can just take a short break, but when you come back, Waziri will talk about, when you talk about idle land, what exactly do we mean, and how does the government come, or how the government maybe want or even help people to understand that it is not important maybe for them just to have land that is idle, and how maybe they can actually be helped to make sure, because I think that is something that we are grappling with as a country, as a society, and we know, of course, land being a factor of production, we need to see what is it that maybe we can do so that maybe we can also have it contributing as much as possible to the growth of our economy. Waziri will talk about that and quite more on this very, very important discussion that we are having right here on Leadership Wednesdays, all about focus on land. Of course, we are asking you, what are some of the reforms that you'd wish or you would desire implemented as far as land is concerned? 23814 shortcut platform. Catch us live on our Facebook page, MBCI TV, and also on YouTube, that is MBCI TV official. We are taking a short breather. We are back with much more.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Kamilisha methali, ng'ombe akivunjika guu
haiunganishwi tena. Haiunganishwi tena.
Nipatie spelling ya neno adjournment.
What did I hear? HARDCHMEN.
Nani alimeza samaki na alikuwa anaenda wapi?
Nenoa.
Na niko na tongue twister, utarudia mara tatu bila kustop. Inaenda hivi: Jack Chank Jank. Jack Chank Jank. Rudia mara 3 mbio mbio, twende.
Track chang chang. Track chang chang. Track chang chang.
Na hivi tu bwana umetoa wapi?
Buda, unaonaje hii moti? Buda iko fiti mbaya. Lakini si ulisema uwezi nunua dinga before ujenge. Sasa utaipack wapi? Nitaipack huku tu, nishanunua plot hadi naanza kujenga. Buda, hebu nichanue.
Welcome to the Delight Nakuru, brought to you by Username Investments. Perfect for your dream home investment for holiday home, going only for 799,000 shillings for 1/8 of an acre. There's borehole water, estate gate, graded access roads, electricity and proximity to modern high-end schools, hospitals and other social amenities. SMS Nakuru to 20321 or call 0725 000 222.
My name is Odhiambo Olale. I'm a journalist by profession, media consultant. Journalism, I decided to pick on journalism. I think it was in our blood. Because it goes all the way back. My mother was a journalist. She was a columnist in 1962.
Wow.
When she had a column in the Baraza newspaper. That was a sister newspaper of the Standard newspaper. Yes, and I think also this storytelling has just also been just part of our family. Special documentation. I have 6 pages of photo gallery. The oldest photo was taken 1926. 1926.
Kilimo ni uti wa mgongo katika uchumi wa kitaifa. Akili Shambani inakufunza mbinu mbalimbali za kilimo cha mimea na ufugaji. Tunavuka milima na mabonde kukuelimisha mengi kuhusu ubunifu na teknolojia katika kilimo. Yote 9, 10 ni masoko. Nayo je?
Tunahusika na mkulima kutoka kwa shamba hadi sokoni.
Fahamu haya na mengine mengi kuhusu kilimo kwenye Akili Shambani kila Jumatano saa 1:30 usiku, ukiletewa nami Enaeli Mlinga.
Sikusoma nikiwa mdogo juu ya changamoto ilikuwa mingi kwa familia, na tena nililelewa kwa familia ya watoto wengi, tulikuwa wasaba, na wazazi pia walikuwa waelewi mambo na masomo ya msichana.
Niko na mke kweli ambaye anaweza kusimama mbele ya wanaume na kuongoza, kuhutubia na kufanya vitu mingi, na hako na courage, hana yote ya kusimama na watu.
Phyllis alikuwa anang'ang'ana, but unajua sasa kama mwanafunzi ambaye miaka imesonga kidogo, kuna vile tulikuwa tunamhandle, tunamuelewa zaidi kwa sababu kwenda nyumbani ako na majukumu hapa na pale, anang'ang'ania watoto wake pia, lakini hiyo haikumfunga. Still alikuwa anajaribu kufanya kazi yake kulingana na uwezo wake.
Ni jambo mbaya msichana akipata mimba ama aolewe mapema na maisha yake ishi hapo.
MBCI Television, transforming lives.
Welcome back to the Leadership Wednesday show. We are still very, very glad you're having us right here, and of course also interacting with us. Today is All Matters Land, focus on land reforms if you may wish, and we are privileged and also honored to have an expert and also the CEC, Department of Lands, Affordable Housing, Physical Planning, Urban Growth in the County Government of Nakuru, that is Honorable John Kihagi, helping us here to understand this particular area that what are some of the reforms that you'd wish implemented in the land sector? Continue giving us your feedback on 23814 for our shortcut platform, and of course also join us. We are live on our social media pages, Facebook, MBCI TV, and also you can catch us on our YouTube page, that is MBCI TV Official. We'll be glad to also see how you're responding to this particular matter as we continue with our discussion for today. Karibu tena Waziri. Yes, before the break, there is that particular bit that I think maybe most people have not understood, and maybe it is important for us to enable them, have some understanding about, and maybe even be in a position to know what is it that maybe they can be able to do. When you're talking about the issue of idle land. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Magich. First of all, the issue of idle land is a contentious one, because what is land use? You may come and find that I've left my land fallow because I had farmed maize last time, so I need to let it now regain its fertility.
Right.
So that may not be termed as idle land. That's like land that is lying fallow so that it can gain its fertility. But this especially happens within the context of agricultural land or freehold land. But we have another category of land that is called leasehold land that you have been leased by the government for a certain use, and it states the user condition. For instance, I've been leased land for residential use. I've been leased land in town for commercial use. Ordinarily, there is a condition that you should develop this land within 2 years. Okay. So if you give you a prime land within the town, within any town in this country, for you to do some urban development, for you to develop some block of apartments so that people can have housing, for you to build a school so that we can maybe have our children get places to school, for you to build a church so that or a mosque so that our people can have places of worship, is because the people living in that area have a certain need, social need that it's supposed to be there. So that's why the government gives you 2 years for you to develop that land. Should you not develop, then the state has the powers to get back that land, because it was a lease condition that you're supposed to do this, and you've left that land fallow. And the government, it has never happened, but that's what should ideally happen, because you are not given land, leasehold land to speculate. You are given leasehold land to develop. And in most cases, especially currently, if we are giving you public land, we through a letter of allotment. There are so many people who want land. And so if we do give you and not give another person, it's because you've demonstrated to us that you have even the resources to develop that land and put it into economic use. We also have another category of idle land, that is public land. And you realize that the government is also a huge landowner. Some government corporations, they have huge tracts of land which are not used. And right now, the government has what they are calling the land commercialization program, whereby all state agencies that own land have been told to give an inventory of the land that they have. And out of this land, what of this land can be taken or can be leased out or given out for commercial use. So you may find people are having, they need to do farming, but you go and find Carlo or ADC or other government corporations, they have thousands and thousands of acres. Can we lease this land to private farmers who can now farm and ensure that our country gets the food resources that we need? So the issue of land, idleness or otherwise of land, is based on what is the intended use of that land. So if you go to Soisabu Ranch and you find thousands and thousands of acres that are left fallow, maybe it's because it's conservation land. We are supposed to have wildlife there, and the wildlife, that's not idle land. There's conservation happening there. It could be rangeland, whereby we are doing our beef farming. That's not idle land. It could also be woodlots where we are just planting trees and all that for purposes of ensuring that we have a good climate. But especially in urban areas where you've been disturbed by the government, you are definitely supposed to develop, otherwise it to be termed idle land, and the government can repossess that land from you.
Wow, wow. Let's, for example, come back to Nakuru Waziri, and most people believe that Nakuru is very strategic, yes, especially in terms of its location. What do you think maybe are some of the issues, some of the measures that your office is putting into place to ensure that those who are actually investing in this particular city are actually being looked into?
Okay, the issue of, first of all, you are right, Nakuru is very strategic, and Nakuru is a place to be. In another 10, 20 years, Nakuru will be one of, actually to be, other than Nairobi and maybe Mombasa, it will have overtaken any other place in the country in terms of economic performance. Right. Even now we are doing great. Kisumu, Kiambu, the Mombasa, Nakuru, at Nairobi, we are almost, in terms of the GDP, yes, we are doing very well. So we are also having an influx of investors who are coming to our county, and we are working with the national government towards ensuring that we get special economic zones, we get county aggregation centers, we get EPZs, we get a lot of factories are establishing in Nakuru, especially agro-based factories. So as a lands department, our role is first of all to avail land to these developers. And we are working very closely with the State Department for Lands towards ensuring that we plan our land. We ensure that the investors are getting the best that they can get. For instance, we are now preparing the 10-kilometer buffer zone, the plan for my Mahio Special Economic Zone, towards ensuring that once you establish within the Special Economic Zone, your neighbors also match a certain character or in terms of standards of what the developments can be around there. Also within the Joro area, we are having the KAIP, the County Aggregation Industrial Park, and we're also ensuring that within that land, we get proper development so that if a developer comes, you just anchor in. In Menegai here, because we have geothermal, we also working very closely with the landowners there to ensure that we facilitate them towards planning and subdividing of their land in a way that's sustainable, such that any investor who comes that they want to establish in Menengai Industrial Park, because of the power aspect, it will be very cheap, just like in Orkali and Naivasha. So our issue is to manage this land properly, our issue is to document that land properly, and our issue is to fast-track development applications for such developers. Initially, when I came in, you would find that a development application would take about 120 days to be processed. That's about 4 months. It's too much. An investor does not have all that time. Sure. And so what we've done now is we've started the electronic development application management system, the EDAMS, whereby wherever you are in the world, you can just submit your application, you will see it, and once you apply, now we do all the processing electronically. And so you find if I am here in Nakuru and the applicant or the sub-county planner is in Naivasha, I don't have to take the physical file to Naivasha, or the planner in Naivasha does not have to bring the physical file for me to see here. And so he just sends it electronically, the director here sees it, the chief officer sees it, I see it, and maybe in about 2-3 weeks, we are able now to approve plans, and this has fast-tracked development permits. Whether we are talking of subdivisions, we are talking of change of users, we are talking of physical construction, we are able to do it in a record time. I think right now we are doing an average of 30-35 days. Not because we should take 35 days, but because there are also some other aspects of ownership, some other aspect of payment of rates that the landowners grapple with. You realize our people, you only realize your land has an issue when you want to develop. Before then, you just find maybe The owner died. The wife thought that because the title is in the name of the husband, it's actually hers.
Yes.
So when she applies and we find that the applicant is not the owner, now there are some other issues we have to sort. So we also encouraging that our people come and we talk with them, and through that clinics that we normally have. In fact, even last week, surveyors, with the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya, we had lab clinics all over. So come and ask some of those questions. Yesterday I was in Bodeni in Gilgil with the owners there, and we had a lot of discourse. I realized that most of the people, the owners of the land had died. Yet the widows and their children are holding on to those papers, not knowing that they are supposed to go to court and start the succession process. So when our people, we have a discourse with them, we educate them, and that's why I'm saying the RAD application, the permit does not have to take 35 days. But because there are other underlying factors that we have to deal with, that's why it takes that time. Our aim is to be doing it in less than 20 days.
Less than 20 days, sure.
And we give you your permit and you go and develop.
Wow, wow. And of course, I know there is also the craze of so many people maybe coming to the urban areas. It's a flock of multitudes, and the urban areas are quite very, very active, very, very busy. Now, when you look at these, even in terms of those who are now coming as developers, what is it like opening maybe the other areas, maybe even other rural areas, and maybe this is actually where maybe we have a lot of huge chunk of land?
Okay, we are not worried about people coming to urban areas. Actually, we say that future is urban. Last year, we had the Kenya Urban Forum, which was run by the president in Naivasha. And later this year, we are going to have the World Urban Forum in Egypt. And we are taking, that's why we even have a department like mine, which is in charge of urban development. Because we are saying the future is urban. We are not educating you to live in the rural areas. The only guys we are telling to go back to the rural areas are the guys who are learning agriculture. So that they can go and do farming in the rural areas. The rest of us, let us come to town. Let us congregate whereby we are in decreated settlements where service delivery is easy. Reticulation of power, reticulation of water, provision of medical services, all these services are easier done within an urban setting. And that's why we are saying the future is urban. People will live in urban areas. Yeah, right now about 60% of our population is living in urban areas. Very soon we expect that population to even go higher. And that means we need very few people in the rural areas. They'll be producing the food using mechanized methods. And us here now, we engage in other economic activities, which are best performed in urban settings. We are talking of manufacturing. We are talking of value addition. We are talking of service industries like the TV station that we are in. So our role as urban planners is to ensure that as this population is coming here, they get proper housing. They get medical facilities. They're able to move from one point to the other. Of course, right now in the digital era, physical movement is not a must. You can. I've been in court where I'm still allowed here. A judge can deliver judgment at the comfort of their sitting room. But we are saying we still have a lot to ensure that transportation is happening. So the future is urban, and that's why we are saying the rural land should be left for agriculture and other rural-based productive measures. Urban areas is where we are going to have a lot of people coming, and that's why we are saying now we are doing both affordable housing and also social housing. Social housing within our urban areas. Social housing is whereby people may not afford. And maybe if I did a house for you for 2 million, that's very affordable to you, or 1.5 million. But that's still not affordable to many of our people. So that's why we are saying we may, and the President has said it very clearly, that beyond affordable housing, we're also going to go to social housing, whereby these people who are currently living in, for instance, some of our residential estates here, who pay 800 shillings, we can have them live in better houses, but still pay the 800. So it's state subsidized, and that's why we are calling it social housing.
Sure.
But people like you and me, who maybe earn 100,000, maybe even to 200,000, you still would struggle to own a house. A person like me can also own a house without actually breaking a bank. And once you do that, you also release pressure from the social housing aspect, because you find if you don't own, if you're earning a salary and there's a shortage of housing within the country, the tendency is you displace the next cadre that is lower than you, so that the lowest of the cadres, they now go and they live in urban, in slum areas. So we are saying we need to remove these slum areas by creating affordable and social housing. Yes.
And talking about affordable housing, there are those who are saying it is like the pace is quite slow. Maybe what could be the reason for this, and maybe what needs to be done? Because this is a very, very good project, a very, very good program to actually help most of our people who have actually been having very, very great challenges as far as owning a home, owning a house is concerned.
I would not say it's slow, but maybe it's not the pace that was expected. Here in Nakuru, we've already done Bahati and Elbagon. They are at the second and third floor, respectively. Right now, as we speak, we had envisaged we will start in Karagita in Naivasha, and also Gilgil, and also here in Nakuru town. But of course, there are teething problems in this program. First of all, here, the issue of land issues. For you to perfect land ownership documents, because you find some of this land, they are not titled. So we are trying to get proper titling for them. It takes time. Some constitutional, because the law says how you handle it. But of course, I know at the national level, maybe there has been the myriad of court cases that maybe have been put out there. Some of them very unfortunate, because I can tell you without a doubt, I visited some of those sites. Our young people, our women, they are very eager to have those projects, because some ladies were telling us, if this stops, us, we don't know what we are going to do, because we've seen our children are able to eat because of those projects. So those myriad of cases, I've had even now, as the Affordable Housing Act has been placed, some people have still gone to court. Maybe they're also throwing the national government in terms of implementation of the housing project. But I do believe we are on course. Last week, after I left studio, I lashed to Bahati, and later I'll show you the photos of the nice photos of the projects as we did them. They are quite at an advanced stage. I don't think we're having a problem with the affordable housing project in Nakuru. We have two projects at about 440 units that are being done right now. But then here we did about 600. And so in total we'll have done, by the end of this year, we'll have done about 1,000. These are the houses in
this is
Bahati.
Okay.
They are at quite an advanced stage. I visited them last week. So very affordable and very ready. They are selling at, if you go to Bomayangu, you'll be able to view them. They are selling for as low as 1.8 million for one bedroom. So what I'm saying is that the affordable housing project is real. That is actually revolutionizing the economy of some of those settlements.
Exactly. And for those who are willing, for those who are potential owners of these affordable homes, what is the process like? Is it complicated for them, or what do they need to do?
It's not complicated for potential owners. All you need to do is register within the Bomayangu platform. I think it's *832#. If you dial *832#, you are able to register into Bomayangu. Registration fee is 200 shillings. Then after that, you start saving. And so you can save as much as you want, and the system will now offer you an opportunity to select a house based on the house availability. But definitely, a lot of people ask me, how can I own a house? And I'm telling them, you cannot own a house through the affordable housing program unless unless you are registered within the Bomayangu platform, *832#. And the app will tell you now how you progress. For the Bahati ones, I think they are open. If you go to Bomayangu, just Google Bomayangu, Bahati houses, you should be able to, if you're already a registered member of Pumayangu, you should be able to bid for and buy a house.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. So it is open.
It's open.
Basically.
It's open and it's very transparent.
Yeah.
You don't have to know anybody. A lot of people come to me and tell them, even me, I can't just, in as much as I'm one of the drivers of the process,
yes.
If I want to own the house, I have to go.
Is there a particular amount of money they're supposed to save before now they get into?
No, it's your saving.
Yeah.
If you save, that's your money. But now you see when you are bidding, because it's like a bid. Later when you want, I believe the system is configured in such a way that when you want to bid for a house, it will assess you.
Sure.
Are you a regular saver?
Okay.
Yeah. Do I save 200 shillings every week? Yeah. So save as much as you can without maybe putting too much pressure on yourself.
Okay.
But I think you can save as little as 200 shillings regularly, so that by the time the house that you want is out there in the market, it will also help you raise 10% of that amount.
Wow, wow. Absolutely impressive there, Waziri. And of course, I know one of the issues that has been also a major challenge is the issue of slums. And I also know that has also been a major concern in Nakuru. As we talk about affordable housing, how do you perceive it? What do you envisage in terms of us actually helping us to get rid of the slum challenge?
Yes, affordable housing, just as I said before, it's how slums develop is that within the ownership ladder, if I'm earning maybe 10,000, I'm supposed to, by international standards, you say a household should spend 25% of its earning on housing. So if you and your wife, you're earning a gross of 25 to 20,000, you're supposed to spend about 5,000 on rent. So what you find is that because we have not developed enough housing capital or stock there, a house that should be costing you 5,000, because your household you're earning 20,000, that house should actually be costing 2,000 in reality. So what happens is that everybody is pushed down. It's pushed down so that you don't get adequate housing, but you end up paying a lot. The net effect is that those people who earn nothing, because there is quite a lot of people who earn virtually nothing, they can't get affordable housing. So they end up living in slum settlements. Slums are actually, if you look at the history of slums, in Nairobi, which is the best example, you look at Mathare Valley and Kibera, as planners, those are areas we classified as unfit for human settlements. These are areas whereby people should not be living. But because we've pushed and we don't have a welfare program or a social program of taking care of those who cannot afford housing, in as much as housing is a basic human need, even constitutionally it's recognized as such. So you find those people are forced, initially they are forced to go there and live in paper houses. Later they upgraded mabati, very unplanned, very narrow alleys for passing, no social facilities, no toilets, no sewerage, no garbage collection methods. So those slums are areas that are not fit for human settlement. That's where they're living. But because they have nothing, that's where they go to live. If you go to Hasso in town, you get 200 shillings, at least you are sure you can go there and get a shack that you can pay 500 shillings per month. So the net effect of affordable housing is that we are going to make people live in areas that are suitable for human settlements, not areas that are unsuitable for human settlements.
And this is in line even maybe because there are those who believe that most of those who are in these particular slum areas is because maybe of the tough economic situations in their lives, that maybe these are some of the people that are even finding it very difficult to put maybe one particular meal on their table. So when you look at the issue of this affordable housing, this is a program that can actually help them, even as we also look forward to them maybe also being empowered economically.
Yes, but I want you to distinguish between affordable housing and social housing. Those people who are living in slum areas, if you do a house for them, maybe for 1 million, they still will not afford.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that's why some people, recently we posted houses costing between 1.8 million to 3.5 million. And people are making a ridicule of it. They are saying these houses are still not affordable because how many Kenyans can afford 2 million? So that's why I'm saying affordable housing is supposed to create a ripple effect such that you, who is supposed to pay 5,000, you don't displace that guy in the social housing. So we are going to have social housing where these poor people are going to live. Then we make you an affordable house where you are able to live there. Because if we don't make you an affordable housing, you are going to displace the guy who is supposed to be in social housing. And anywhere, in any economic situation, there are people who are going to be poor. Even if you go abroad in America and those developed economies, you still find people who need social housing because of circumstances. So it's not just because of economic situation of the country, it's actually a reality in life that there are people who are still going to require. In as much as we will develop economically, we become a first world country, we still need social housing because there are people, they are the elderly. They are the people who don't have an income. Where are they going to live? They need to live somewhere with dignity. Then we also have the Kenya Informal Sector Improvement Program, which is a World Bank-driven program. And what this program has been doing, now in Kisip too, is the one I told you I was in Bodeni and Gilgil yesterday. We are taking an informal settlement. Even here in Nakuru, we've done quite a lot of them. And we are looking at what social facilities can we give these people. Can we give water? Can we give street rights? Can we give, like in Bodeni, we are doing security of tenure. Can we give these people title deeds so that now they are able now to also take up issues and develop their land properly? Because some people also do shanty developments because they don't feel that they own that land. So they are not going to develop it in a meaningful manner. So the Kenya Informal Sector Improvement Program, where by now we are in phase 2, is also given us money through the World Bank to improve some of these settlements. Recently at Karagita, we were with the governor, Susan Kihika, and we started a water project that it is costing us about 150 million. And with it, we are able to give 1.6 million liters of water every day, in addition to what is already there. So we are also able to cleanse that water and remove a lot of fluoride from it so that the children's teeth and bone are not affected. So we are saying that all these initiatives are there. We are improving the actual slum settlements that we have. We've already done that in Terabete. We've done it in Kwamologi here. We've done it in London, Nakuru, Flamingo Estate here. We are doing tarmac roads. So we are also improving our informal settlements towards ensuring that they become habitable for our people to live in. And the only problem is when we improve them, and now the rich guys like you go and displace those people who cannot afford. So we are saying it has to be a multifaceted effort whereby if we improve those areas and become habitable, the people are still going to live there. They are not going to be displaced.
So of course the question that Waziri, most people I know would be asking, the end result of these is that are we going to wake up one day and realize we don't have slums? Like for example in Nakuru City.
Yes, it's possible.
That is achievable.
It's achievable. In fact, in Nakuru City, let's say Nakuru County, we can achieve that through in the tenure of Governor Susan Kihika.
Wow.
That's one of the challenges I've been given as her minister in charge of urban development. That by the time she's doing her 10th year, because we believe she's doing 10 years, there should be no informal settlement in Nakuru. Because they are not just slums. Some of the settlements you see out there, they don't look slummish, but they're informal in that those people don't have security of tenure. They don't own the land they live in. So can we make sure that we regularize the tenure and make sure that they have title deeds for their land? Can we make sure that they have proper social services, infrastructural services, whether we are talking of roads, we are talking of sewer, we are talking of street lights, we are talking of pedestrian walkways, because we are talking of now inclusive settlements. Don't just build roads for vehicles. Ensure that those people who walk also walk in dignity. Yeah, can we make sure that those environments also are green, open spaces, plantings, and things like even street furnitures. Those are issues that we are doing in those areas. And with proper planning, I'm very sure that we are going to achieve that.
Wow.
And the pace at which we are moving, we may achieve it even in less time.
Absolutely. Yes. That is so awesome. I know there is an exercise that your department was conducting last week, and of course we've also been making those announcements in our station where the governor intends to ensure that those who are in Dundori and also some other centers and also Bahati are given their title deeds. Yes. Maybe you can also give us some highlights.
Yes, you are right. I was here at your radio last week, and we started off the verification program for titling of Dodori and the Bahati settlement. These are some of the issues we are saying. If we give those people titles, those settlements are going to develop in a more organized way.
Because the lack of titles does actually inhibit quite a lot.
Yeah, it inhibits. You cannot go to a bank, whether Equity Bank, Family Bank, or any other bank, and borrow money to do a meaningful development if you don't have title. But if you give them, if you go to Dodori, you will not find a one-story building. They all build very low buildings, and they are very dilapidated. There is no regeneration of that center. Even Bahati itself, you don't feel it. But if we give those people security of tenure, you are going to realize that now they are going to have confidence. Banks or financiers are going to have confidence in them, and they are going now to lend them money to develop. And they are young men and women who are out there. Some of them are abroad. They're also going now to pump money into that settlement. So we went out there. I was in Dondori and Bahati. That was last Tuesday. And we ensured that our people came out. In Dodori, there was a very good turnout. I think so far we've done about 93% of all the plot owners. They've been verified. We are still remaining with about 7% whom we are encouraging to come to our office and verify their documents. But by any standards, 93% is very good. We are ready to move. Bahati, the turnout was not very good. So far we have about 80-something%. I don't know how many came today, but they're also trickling in. So we verified, and we intend to start titling. Within 2-3 months, the title process should be complete. But you are saying that's just the beginning. We have in excess of 50-something centers that we intend to title in Nakuru. And we are saying in this tenure of Her Excellency Susan Kehika, we are ensuring that those people actually get title deeds. We also have a lot of titles that we are processing for schools and other public agencies, which we expect that as we progress, we should also be calling those agencies, starting with the heads of primary and secondary schools, and issuing them their title deeds for onward transmission to the PS Treasury, who is the custodian of all government title deeds.
Wow, and as we talk about the issue of title deeds, because I know this is also something that maybe has been affecting so many Kenyans. I think even some of the residents of Nakuru City. What is the process like? Streamlining the process and the process of people getting their title deeds.
Okay, there are different types of titles. First of all, there are people who are allocated land by the government. And it was the honors of the government to ensure that the land is planned, it's surveyed, and the people get their title deeds. For some reason, that never happened. So people were given letters of allotment, they never followed up the titles. Then a lot of disputes have come out in such areas. So the ownership, duplication of allotments. So this tenure of council has come. They overturn what the previous council did. So what we are doing, the process we are now following for that category of land, people who owned land in urban areas, they were given those land by either the town councils or the municipal council or even the county council of Nakuru, former, which now the county government of Nakuru is the successor of all those councils. So we own up to all the work that they did. So what we are doing is we are verifying, were you given this land by the county? Is there any other person who was also given that land by the county council? So once we verify, we are surveying that land, and we are giving you a title deed.
So in the process,
free of cost.
It is possible to find out that maybe a title deed was issued illegally. There are those scenarios that might come out.
Actually, not title deeds. What we are finding out is that there are letters of allotment. So one letter of allotment, the council maybe in 1980 gave it to you. In 1993, they gave it to me. And in 1999, they gave it to Susan. So we have to ask ourselves, because Susan never built, you never built, and maybe I never built, but you go there and find another person who built. So now there are 4 people, 3 with letters at different epochs, a 4th one occupying the land. So it becomes a contentious, who is actually the owner of? Yeah. And that's why I said we are now working with the alternative justice system, so that these people, we tell them, you don't have to go to court. Can we look at a way where everybody is satisfied, and this land now goes into productive use. But of course, you could also find that this person also has a title deed, which he got irregularly, one way or the other. So it becomes a very contentious issue, and we are asking for God's grace and also wisdom, and also the goodwill of our people, we are able to give out some of those titles. The other category of title that is very contentious, that one I've told you is the one where the government actually gave you land. You have a letter of allotment, you are supposed to get a 99-year lease, and that one we are working on. The other one is land buying companies. A certain company came, whichever land buying company, and you bought a share there. And for some reason, that company has been unable to give land to wananchi. So we're also calling on the directorship of that company, because you find there are case after case, there is a case after case, even the directors are sued. In extreme cases, we've had even the Boikametes and the Kehiomweres of this country. The president had to intervene and command those directors to come out, because some of the cases are hidden criminality. So where we have such cases, and they are so numerous, in Elementaita, in Joro, in Subukia, in Naivasha, Gilgil, everywhere. So we are reasoning with the directors of the company and the membership of the company. How can we get out of court? How can we come and resolve some of these issues so that people get their title deeds, especially those people who bought titles land in the 80s, 90s, even 2000s. There is such a case. Of course, some of them is criminal. Some of them is just misunderstanding, and we are bringing them together to understand each other and ensure that we get away where there seems to be darkness.
Wow, oh, that is awesome. And for those maybe they are the kin, maybe to the owners of the land, maybe the parents died. How are they helped in such a situation?
For those ones, we are assisting them and guiding them to start the process of succession. You should just go to your area chief, introduce yourself as a heir of so-and-so, and the chief is going to direct you. Our board administrators will also inform them properly, and we're also working with a very critical category, our MCAs. I've had various sessions with our MCAs and I've educated them on land matters. So our MCAs are also very able now to direct their constituents on how they start the land succession process, and they go to court. It may look difficult, but you just walk to court and the court assistants are going to assist you. Of course, we are saying anybody who has an issue on land and property, they should come to us. But if your father, your mother, your husband, your wife has died, you need to register. First of all, get a death certificate. Then from there, go and ensure that you talk to your area chief, who is going to give you a letter and introduce you to the court. Then the court is going to give you a letter of administration, whereby you are recognized as the administrator of the properties of the deceased. Then from there, the court will direct you on how to get a grant. In other words, you list the properties of that person and each property who should inherit. That grant, you take it to the court, and you also take it to Kenya Gazette. And after, if there is no contention, you just come and we will transfer. We will help transfer the title deeds to your name or to the name of the inheritors or the heirs. It's not a complicated process, but you need to start it. Start by getting a certificate, the death certificate for the deceased, and then visit your area chief. Also talk to your sub-county administrator and also your member of county assembly, whom we've sensitized because of the good partnership that the government of Her Excellency Susan Kihika and our county assembly is having. We are able to use our MCAs as last mile reach to our people.
Wow, wow, that is awesome. Maybe, Waziri, you can also talk about how your department is also liaising and coordinating with the land buying companies in terms of also maybe ensuring that where they want people to buy land from, these are also areas that also have access to basic infrastructure.
Okay, land buying companies in Nakuru have been sensitized. First of all, we have areas where we don't want land subdivided because these are our rich agricultural areas. Our coffee in the areas of Subukia, Kabatini is the best in the country. Sure. It's actually used to blend the good coffee of Kenya. So if we subdivide our land in Subukia, Kabazi and all that, Nakuru County will now diminish our meager production of coffee and tea. So we are telling them some areas are no-go zones, and we are not going to approve subdivisions in some of those areas. So what we are telling the investors in land matters, they need to visit our office, and so a good number of them have come, so that if they want to buy land for urban development or to subdivide and sell to our people for urban development, we guide them where, by our county spatial plan, because we have a plan that defines zones where they should focus and where they should seek to buy that land. After that, we plan with them. We help them plan that land, because we also don't want unplanned settlements. We are very keen on road widths. Yeah, don't give us 6 and 9 meter roads. We want a minimum of 12. And the Physical Planning Act is also very clear on what size of roads you should give in a certain settlement. Of course, we know you can have a 6 meter road if it's accessing a plot or 2. But where you are accessing more than 3 plots, definitely we need wider roads. Then, of course, we need social amenities. You cannot come here and subdivide a 1,000 acre plot or 100 acre plots, and you're not giving us land for social amenities. We need land for nursery schools, maybe a dispensary or 2. We need land for maybe water points, water tanks and all that. So we also discuss with the developer, what amenities are you going to provide? What social facilities are you going to provide for the people that you intend to live in that settlement? So that partnership has worked in most cases, but we also realize there are small land buyers. A person who buys an acre or 2 there subdivides into plots, and at times we are having problems with them. But we are also discussing with the professionals, whether they are the planners or the surveyors, and in most cases we reach an amicable agreement. We also have land that was subdivided previously, and very narrow roads were left. So you find the subdivision gave 6 meter roads. That area has developed. There are a lot of vehicles coming there. And so that land, load is not enough. And especially since our people now are building flats, people are building multiple dwellings. So we are saying we have an agreement with our planners and our surveyors that we have to widen those flats. So if you are developing, kindly give us 1.5 meter, and then your neighbor gives us 1.5 meter. So if we had a 6 meter road, we end up having a 9 meter road. It's for everybody's benefit. That's how we regenerated Upper Hill in Nairobi. If you go those 30, 40 blocks of buildings, you don't feel traffic jamming in Upper Hill. But it's because as planners, we did a deliberate attempt. Even Dagoretti, that's how we developed Dagoretti, because it was initially rural. But we agreed as planners, especially at Nairobi, that you have to widen the roads. We planned properly for the widening of the roads, and the settlement has become very, very good nowadays. So even in Nakuru, if people can agree that if we are developing, please give us a meter, give us another meter, so that even when you are talking of doing sewerage for that settlement, when you are talking of doing stormwater drains for that area, when you are talking of doing pedestrian walkways, roads are not just for cars. Roads are where even our children learn to ride their bicycles. That's where our young boys and girls also learn some of these games that we used to play when we are young. Where do you want them to play?
Thank you so much, Waziri. We are almost through with our conversation, but before you come back with a brief closing remark, of course, you know, when we are having this particular show, there is that particular segment that we always prepare for you. That is Know Your Constituency. Know Your Constituency. That's something that we always prepare for you. And of course, I think we have have it on our screen today. Let's see where we are taking you on this particular segment. And of course, today we are taking you to Kirinyaga County, and here we are going to find this particular constituency known as Gishogo constituency. It is one of the constituencies in Kirinyaga County. Constituency was first established in 1963 and was then known as Kirinyaga East constituency. That is back in 1963. The other things that you need to know about this particular constituency, we have previous members of parliament. 1963 we had Kimamu Njiru Gishoya. 1969 Kimamu Njiru Gishoya again. Come 1979 we had Nahashan Njuno. Come 1988 we had Godfrey Karekia Karethi. 1997 Martha Karua. Again 2007 we had again Martha Karua. We think I've skipped 1966, Bernard Kathanga, 1974, Nahashan Njuno. 1983, again Nahashan Njuno. So we have Martha Karua, the very, very first time coming to office in this particular constituency was in 1992. Then again 2002, she clinched that particular seat. Then come again 2007, Martha Karua. Then in 2013 we had Aegeus Njogu Barua, and then now 2017 we had Robert Geshimu Githinji, and of course again re-elected in the very last general election in 2022, Robert Geshimu Githinji, of course the current member of parliament for Gishogo constituency. We have some wards there. We have Baragwe, we have Kabare, we have Karumandi, we have Kirema, and we have Ngariama, and we also have Njokini. Those are the wards that you find in Gishogo constituency. The main economic activity for Gishogo constituency being coffee farming. And that is Know Your Constituency. Today our focus being in Gishogo constituency. What's standing out for you from Gishogo?
First of all, I have a good friend, the Honorable Aegeus Njogu Barua.
Okay.
We served with him in Parliament 2013 to 2017 when I was member of Parliament for Naivasha.
Exactly.
So Mheshimiwa Njogu Barua, wherever you are, thank you very much. Then Mheshimiwa Martha Karua, also a very good friend of mine, and we are active participants within the former, what we call for former parliamentarians, especially the former parliamentarians for Central, what we call the Central Kenya region. So we are very good friends. The people of Gishogo are our good friends. The Kirinyaga as a whole, I have some very good friends. I have a rapport with them. So we wish them well. Also, you realize that's also a home to the chair of the Council of Governors, Her Excellency Anne Waiguru, who is also doing a wonderful job in steering the council, where my governor is also the chair of the trade committee. And so the people of Gishogo and the wider Kirinyaga, hats off. They did us, when I was talking about subdivision of land for coffee, they grabbed all the coffee awards. And Her Excellency, the governor, has given us a call that we need to up our coffee production. The government, especially through the Honorable the Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, is very keen on improving coffee and tea. And as Nakuru, we have regions that produce those two crops. And Honorable Waiguru, Waiguru is scooping all the places. So we want to scoop or to grab one or two next year, in the next 3 years from the people of Kirinyaga.
Exactly.
But we are good friends with the people of Kirinyaga.
As you give us your closing remarks, someone is asking, talk about the issue of land grabbing. Are these cases over? You still find some?
Yes, land grabbing is an aspect whereby some unscrupulous people they take ownership through some illegal means or irregular means of public land. So the cases are rampant in Nakuru. we've lost a lot of public land, whether we are talking of land for dispensaries, whether you're talking land for schools, we are talking land for other public amenities. So the cases are so rampant. In fact, it's a very sorry case because much of our development programs are being hampered by this aspect of land grabbing. So it's an issue we are fighting with. And in most cases, it's a sorry case because in many cases, our officers are also involved in it. So dealing with it becomes very, very difficult. So we are determined to bring back all those lands, and we are saying, of course, President amesema maneno ni matatu. So if you know you are sitting, and me, I'm an ardent fighter for public land. If you track my history, when I was member of parliament for Naivasha, I fought for many and recovered a lot of public land where people are now currently enjoying those public amenities. If you can start from the Kinogi market, you can come to the Naivasha Stadium land, and many, many others. Of course, it also comes with many, many court cases, some of which I'm even fighting for now, 8 years down the line. But that's the cost of leadership, and this is Leadership Wednesday. So leadership. So
fighting land grabbing is
fighting land grabbing is a serious issue. It's a very expensive issue because at times you also pay with your own money because at times the government cannot start in where you are stood as an individual. So I have court cases that I'm fighting even today, and I continue fighting some of them. Our governor has also said with no uncertain term, no inch of public land is going to go. And we are committed that our people get the facility that they want. And we want to enlist the support of the people of Nakuru. I'm very happy that we have very many crusaders, very many warriors. In Hell's Gate Ward, I have a very good supporter, Councillor Gadige. Yes. Continue doing the good job that you're doing, Councillor. We are with you. And very many champions. In Elementaita, I have Gaido. In Kehingo, all these people are all over, and we are going to fight and ensure that we get back our land, because this land, those who were there before us, in their wisdom, they thought and believed that we will require, our future generations will require this land for our people.
Wow, awesome. Thank you so much, Waziri. Just before we bring it to a close, let's see our leadership quote for today. It's there on your screen, and today we are saying, average leaders raise the bar on themselves. Good leaders raise the bar for others. Great leaders inspire others to raise their own bar. Average leaders raise the bar on themselves. Good leaders raise the bar for others, while great leaders inspire others to raise their own bar. That is our leadership quote for today. And of course, our time is so much spent. Honorable John Kihagi, Waziri, CEC, Department of Land, Affordable Housing, Physical Planning, Urban Growth in the County Government of Nakuru. We appreciate so much your time and contribution and enlightening our viewer on matters to do with the land, especially in the County Government of Nakuru.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate MBCI for giving us this opportunity to talk to our people. Our commitment is for land reforms, that anybody who has a land issue should feel free to contact us, either through our website or come direct to office. We are at Aldi House, Nakuru, below the governor's headquarters office, and also opposite the PC's building. And so that floor, that is where my office is. Anytime any Nakurian has an issue on land, you are free to contact us. We will try as much as possible to work on it. Some of it does not come easy. Some people come and expect an instant solution for a problem that has been there since 1970. But if we can start taking those baby steps towards solving this problem, I assure you that, and the commitment of the governor, Susan Kihika, that we are going to endeavor to assist each and every person who knocks onto our doors. We are having major reforms, we are digitalizing, and we expect that in a matter of time, service delivery on the land sector and many other sectors, because land is actually the basis on which all these other developments are built on, that we shall have meaningful development in our county.
Thank
you. I don't know whether you are aware that our governor has launched the UJI program, Mama na UJI. So our children in ECDs, from next term, they are going to have uji or porridge, nutritious porridge, in all the public ECDs, and they also extending to some private ECDs in needy areas. So our governor is doing a lot. We're also encouraging our farmers to continue planting. The governor has very good ideas on how to improve farming and incomes for our people. Our traders, I know we are doing quite good on terms of markets. Also through the Department of Trades, I know a lot of good things are online.
Thank you so much.
We thank you very much, and anytime you need us,
sure.
We'll be here to talk more on all aspects of development.
And we appreciate a lot, and it's also a desire to also see that our viewer and our viewers and the entire public and also the residents of Nakuru know what the county government is doing for them. Yes. And we have to bring it to a close. Thank you so much for participating, following us, and also being with us in this particular show. We'll do it again next week, the same place. On behalf of the entire team and crew making it a success for today, we want to wish you a very, very blessed afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. My name is Mangicho Mola.